Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Gender and Development Studies, SOGDS. Master of Arts in Women's and Gender Studies, MAWGSR. Second year, MWG 005 Research Methods, common to both specializations. Block 1 Feminist and Gender-Based Research. Unit 2 Scientific Method and its Critique. 2.1 Introduction. After reading about what is feminist and gender-based research in the previous unit, let us read about another associated aspect of conventional research, that is scientific method. The units looks into what is meant by this term and how method qualified to be named as scientific method evolved with the passage of time. The unit then dwells upon the steps of scientific method followed by its critique from a feminist perspective too. Before moving ahead, let's glance through the objectives of reading this unit. 2.2 Objectives. At the end of this unit, you will be able to describe the classical scientific method, apply the classical scientific method in women and gender studies, research, explain feminist critique of the scientific method, and use the basic steps of the scientific method in conceptualizing a research problem in women and gender studies. 2.3 The classical scientific method. Do you have answers to questions like, how is the world understood? How is reality gauged? How is knowledge gained? Over the past 300 years since the Enlightenment, go to glossary. To know more about it, the scientific method has emerged as the predominant, universally accepted approach to acquiring knowledge. As against religious faith, magic and superstition, the scientific method is a way of arriving at an empirical, impartial and reliable representation of the world. The basic assumptions of the scientific method are that reality is objective and consistent, that human beings have the capacity to perceive reality accurately, and that rational explanations exist for understanding this reality. Essentially, it involves the application of a set of standardized procedures for asking questions, gathering information or data to answer the questions and testing the validity, reliability and consistency of the results. Different modes of logical reasoning, existing theories and laws, classification and statistical procedures are used in combination to operationalize the scientific method with the aim of arriving at truth. In this unit you will read a detailed description of this method, including a critique, to enable you to draw upon it for your research. The classical scientific method broadly refers to a set of procedures and techniques for acquiring knowledge. Historically, the foundations of this method were laid during the Enlightenment, when European thought moved from a magico-religious understanding of reality to one dominated by reason and science. It involves positing logical connections between phenomena, gathering empirical and measurable evidence, confirming or refuting the proposed connections. The Oxford English Dictionary defines the scientific method as a method or procedure that has characterized natural science since the 17th century, consisting in systematic observation, measurement, and experiment, and the formulation, testing and modification of hypotheses. Generality. Scientific method should give results that are not only capable of verification by others, but also that have universal applicability under similar conditions. Science is not concerned with individual cases or instances, but with classes and groups of objects and events of which the individual is only a specimen. Box No 2.1. Scientific method refers to a body of techniques for investigating a phenomenon, acquiring new knowledge or correcting and integrating previous knowledge. Goldhaber and Nieto 2010, 940. The Italian scientist Galileo, 1564 to 1642, is considered the founder of the scientific method. Let us now read the historical background of emergence of scientific method in the realm of research. 2.4 Brief history of the classical scientific method. The scientific method is not a purely modern invention, because ancient Egyptian documents describe application of empirical methods in astronomy, mathematics and medicine. Greek philosopher Thales, 624 BC 546 BC, rejected religious, magical and supernatural explanations. He proclaimed that every event has a natural cause. Another Greek philosopher Aristotle, 384-322 BC, is regarded as the inventor of the scientific method because of his detailed study of logic. Experimental methods were developed by Islamic scholars like Al-Hasan, 965-1040 AD, who worked on optics and physiology. The development of the scientific method as the principal mode of acquiring knowledge emerged during the Renaissance through the works of numerous pioneering scientists and philosophers such as Nicolaus Copernicus, 1473-1543, who showed that it was not the Earth but the Sun which was the center of the solar system. William Harvey, 1578-1657, who described in accurate detail the functioning of the human circulatory system. Robert Boyle, 1627-1691, regarded by many as the father of modern chemistry, and many others who performed controlled experiments providing elaborate details concerning procedure, apparatus and observations. Perhaps the most well-known of these great scientists is without doubt Isaac Newton, 1942-1727, Francis Bacon's Novum Organum, 1620, and René Descartes, 1637, discourse on method provided the theoretical foundation of the classical scientific method. In contrast to faith, dogma and tradition embodied in religious belief in superstition, these thinkers advocated what would today be called the scientific temper. The basic features of the scientific temper are a belief in an underlying order in nature that is knowable through reason, the idea that every natural phenomenon has a cause which can be known, the universal accessibility to understanding nature through a set of methodological procedures based on observation, measurement, classification, experimentation, verification and prediction. Truth is not based on blind faith in the Word of God found in the Scriptures, but available to anyone following the methods of science. For example, the geocentric model of the solar system was replaced by the heliocentric model proposed by Copernicus, which was based on observation of planetary motions through telescopes, while the earlier theory was based on religious faith not backed by actual observation. Science is conceptualized as an objective enterprise, and the scientific approach aims to minimize the influence of bias of the individual scientist on the results of the research. 2.5 Basic steps in the classical scientific method. You have read in the earlier section that the scientific method consists of systematic observation, definition, classification, measurement, analysis and interpretation. These activities are performed in a standardized sequential manner from the conceptualization of a research question, developing a research design for answering them, interpretation of the results and prediction and verification of the same. Box No. 2.2. Scientific knowledge is cumulative or incremental in the sense that existing theories are fertile sources of new hypotheses, which are subjected to experimental verification leading to the development of new theories and laws. The critical characteristic of the scientific method lies in the procedure or steps involved in proposing hypotheses to explain phenomena and designing experimental studies to test them in such a fashion that we may arrive at universally accepted facts. The procedure should enable other researchers to arrive at the same results when doing the experiment under similar conditions. This section will familiarize you with the various steps involved in the classical scientific method. The main steps or stages of the application of the scientific method are 1. Observation and description of phenomenon. 2. Formulation of a hypothesis to explain the phenomenon. In the classical scientific method, of which physics is the paradigmatic example, it takes the form of a causal mechanism or mathematical relation. 3. Using the hypothesis to predict existence of other phenomenon or the results of new observations. 4. Performance of experiments to test the hypothesis. See glossary, by several independent researchers. If all the researchers come to the same results, then the hypothesis will become a theory or law. Experimental verification is the key for the success of the scientific method. Science evolves gradually building upon existing knowledge. Scientific theories vary in the extent to which they have been experimentally tested and for how long and in their acceptance in the scientific community. All scientific theory is closely tied to empirical findings, and hence always remains subject to falsification in the event of a contradictory finding. In that sense, scientific knowledge is always provisional. Two contemporary examples will illustrate the provisional nature of scientific knowledge. Current work in quantum and particle physics contests Einstein's general theory of relativity, according to which nothing travels faster than light. According to current thinking in quantum theory, there are possibly subatomic particles that move faster than light. This is a hypothesis subject to experimentation. On the other hand, there is a general belief that the Earth is not the only habitable planet in the universe. The recent discovery of a number of Earth-like planets orbiting distant stars that could sustain life forms is a hypothesis, but there are no methods available at present to test it. Box No 2.3. Hypothesis. It is a general statement about a relationship between phenomena that is open to being tested or becoming the subject of a systematic investigation. It may be derived logically from existing data or may be a stray hunch, guess or observation. Analogies or similarities are an important source of hypotheses. The hypothesis should be specific, conceptually clear, related to available theories and techniques so that it can be tested. A critical element of the scientific method is reducing the influence of bias or prejudice of the researcher. Objectivity is an ideal prerequisite of the scientific method. Objectivity is the characteristic of something that is not influenced by either changing contextual conditions or the observer. For example, gold is yellow because it appears the same to all human eyes, but if we say it is a precious metal, then that is not an objective characteristic of the metal. The ideal model of the researcher is an emotionally detached observer whose values and beliefs do not interfere with the experiment. This stance is called value neutrality, which assumes that social, political, and moral values should play no role in the search for truth. One of the ways of guaranteeing objectivity is reliance on quantitative data or numbers. Hence the great importance attached to counting and measurement of variables in the scientific method. Operational definitions of relevant variables, preferably in quantitative terms, are the rigor in science, such as measurement of temperature in degrees centigrade, power in volts or electrical current in amperes. The fact that quantitative data can be subjected to statistical manipulation and represented in tables and graphs confers upon it a greater level of objectivity than representation of information in the form of qualitative data or language. An experiment can take several forms, for example, a classical laboratory experiment under controlled conditions or an archaeological excavation. Often, in the classical experimental design, the experimental and control group strategy are adopted, wherein both the groups are similar in every way possible except that the former is exposed to the phenomenon under to the variable under study. Since prediction of results and replication of the experiment under similar conditions by other researchers are critical in the verification process, detailed record keeping and archiving of the whole process are crucial components of the scientific method. Other scientists must be able to repeat the experiment and duplicate the results or arrive at the same results following the same approach. International journals like Science and Nature mandate a policy of data and methods archiving as part of the peer review process, so that others can repeat the process for verification. It will be noticed that the scientific method is a more systematic and refined version of ordinary logical thinking, wherein experience presents us with a problem. We try to solve the problem by guessing a possible reason or cause which becomes a prediction. Then, we test our conjecture to see if our guess is correct or not. If we are right, then we have an explanation. If we are wrong, then we make another guess and go through the process again. This is referred to as the iterative cycle. Forms of reasoning in scientific research like deductive and inductive inference are more refined versions of everyday logical thinking that we all engage in. Let us now read about why it is important to adopt scientific method in social science research. 2.6 Classical scientific method and social science research. Let us understand that the exemplary location for testing of this method is the laboratory setting, where conditions can be controlled for experimentation and results can be derived in the form of causal connections. The disciplines of physics, chemistry and biology have developed through this approach, which is why they are called experimental sciences. But what happens when we want to study human behavior and society? Can the classical scientific method be equally successfully applied to finding causal connections when the focus of inquiry shifts from the experimental to the social and human sciences? The following section discusses the main problems of application of the classical method to the study of social phenomena. Social scientists tried to apply the techniques of the natural sciences for the study of human psyche and society. But it was soon found that social reality is very different, and it is not possible to apply the classical scientific method without modification for its study due to the following reasons. Complexity of social data. No two persons are exactly alike, and even the behavior of the same individual varies under different circumstances. So, it is difficult to generalize about social phenomena in the form of universal cause-effect relationships. For example, most people will run away from a burning building, but some may stay behind risking their own lives to save others. Social phenomena is unpredictable. Due to the complexity of social phenomena, it is difficult to predict human behavior and arrive at laws that are universally true under identical circumstances. This is in contrast to the high level of predictability that prevails in the case of physical and chemical phenomena. Plurality of causes and intermixture of effects. Not only do social phenomena have a range of causes, but it is also difficult to clearly distinguish between cause and effect in the case of social data. For instance, high rates of crime in a city may be due to unemployment, inflation, and/or lax policing. Then, poverty may lead to high rates of disability in society because more people become disabled due to lack of access to adequate nutrition and healthcare. But disability may also lead to poverty in that more disabled persons will find it difficult to get and maintain a job because they are disabled, leading to a higher incidence of poverty among disabled persons. Social phenomena are heterogeneous since there are multiple causes, and it is difficult to demarcate between causes and effects. The relative homogeneity detected in natural phenomena gives way to a high level of diversity and heterogeneity in the case of social phenomena. Difficulty in measurement and quantification. Due to such diversity, it is difficult to quantify and consequently measure social categories. This is unlike the case of mass, weight, gravity, current, and other physical and chemical phenomena. For instance, urbanization, indiscipline, assimilation, and other social concepts are difficult to translate in quantitative terms. Subjectivity of the researcher and objectivity of the research. Since the subject and object of study, namely human beings, are the same, the experimental method becomes particularly difficult to apply. Then, laboratory experimentation is difficult in the case of human behavior and social phenomena because it would introduce an artificiality in the research as subjects would be aware that they are being studied, challenging the possibility of complete objectivity. Moreover, in the case of social data, the issue of bias of the researcher and objectivity of findings also arises. The aforementioned notwithstanding, the basic paradigm of the classical scientific method does form the backbone of most social science research, including research in interdisciplinary areas like women and gender studies. Indeed, one cannot deny the fact that under similar circumstances, most persons behave in similar ways. Concepts of objectivity, because effect, relationships, and verification have been complemented with concepts of intersubjectivity and interpretation to make the classical scientific method more amenable to the study of human behavior and society. Laboratory-based experimentation has been replaced with other data collection methods, like interviews, questionnaires, and field observations. Box No. 2.4. Social research essentially involves using experience to arrive at a conjecture, testing the conjecture, arriving at a result, making some prediction from the result, and then testing it out again. The main steps for conducting the research involve 1. Defining the problem and formulating a set of key research questions. 2. Gathering information to answer the questions. 3. Arriving at some explanation for the problem after collecting and analyzing the relevant data. 4. Interpreting the data. 5. Disseminating the results to other members of the social science community. After reading about what is scientific method of research and how to apply it also becomes important to read Critique of the Scientific Method. 2.7 Critique of the Scientific Method. the paradigm of acquiring knowledge embedded in the scientific method, that came into prominence from the Enlightenment dominated for over 300 years when it came under scrutiny. Historians and philosophers of science highlighted the disjunction between the canons of the scientific method and their actual practice in concrete contexts, highlighting in particular the subjectivity of the individual scientist and the strong role of existing theories in deciding the nature and type of observations made in impacting the research process. Sociological and historical studies of science like the works of Michael Polanyi, 1891–1976, Ludwig Fleck, 1896–1961, Karl Popper, 1904–1994, Imre Lakatos, 1922–1974, and Thomas Kuhn, 1922–1996, and Paul Feyerabend, 1924–1994, have highlighted the socio-cultural roots of the scientific method. Through detailed analysis of the actual practice of science in concrete settings, they have shown how the ideals of pure science such as universality, objectivity and value neutrality are more ideological concepts than actual facts when operationalized in the actual process of research. The heuristic model of the scientific method and its practical application, i.e. the gap between the theory and practice of science, is the source of such criticism. Social science studies of science contend that science is a social process since the experimental results must be reproducible by others in the scientific community. For instance, Thomas Kuhn, 1962, felt that scientists work with preconceived notions and theories which subtly impact their observations and measurements. Once a theory is accepted by the scientific community, it not only becomes untestable but it forms the basis of other theories, constituting a veritable norm. According to Ludwig Fleck, 1979, scientists must examine their own biases and experiences to understand how it impacts their research. There are many possible critiques of the scientific method, from many different viewpoints and for many different reasons. One of the most powerful criticisms is that in the garb of objectivity, a great deal of bias and prejudice is cloaked. For instance, racism underlies the science of eugenics just as sexism colors reproductive biology. In fact, the inhuman medicinal research carried out during the Nazi regime in Germany was embedded in a radical notion of science, completely bypassing the whole issue of human morality. It is due to this massive abuse of science that research ethics emerged as a critical moderator of the scientific method to protect human subjects against harm arising out of research, particularly medical research. Here in this unit, we will confine ourselves to a detailed account of the feminist critique of science and the scientific method in the following concluding section. 2.8 Feminist critique of the scientific method. Feminists like Evelyn Fox Keller, Sandra Harding, Donna Haraway and Helen Longino among others have mounted a detailed and strident critique of the scientific method by contesting its conceptions of knowledge, truth, rationality and objectivity. Modes of scientific reasoning have also been criticized. For instance, feminist theoreticians contend that binary thinking, which represents masculine and feminine as opposite, is deeply embedded in René Descartes' dualism, which makes a clear distinction between mind and body. Feminism contests the notion of a detached knower and value neutrality. It believes that all knowledge is situated knowledge, in which the social, cultural, political values of the knower play a role. In that sense, it does not believe in the idea, and the ideal of objectivity is conceptualized. In the scientific method, feminist critique attempts to identify androcentric and sexist biases in the practice of science. It has been able to identify such biases particularly in the disciplines of biology and psychology, especially in theories of women and gender differences that legitimate sexist practices. Feminist scholars argue that science and technology disadvantage women and other vulnerable groups by subordinating their interests. For instance, the ways economic development policies reinforce gender hierarchy by focusing on men. Another level of criticism is the actual absence of women in science and technology, which is embedded in the education system that systematically discourages women from pursuing studies in certain disciplines, e.g. physics and mathematics, while encouraging them in others, e.g. social sciences, humanities and languages. The social location of the researcher and situated knowledge are key concepts in the feminist critique of science and in feminist methodology. The underlying concepts of feminist research are summarized below. The social location of the researcher defines the object of study. Social location refers to a person's gender, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, caste, kinship, occupation, religion etc. In that sense, the whole debate on value neutrality and detachment between observer and the phenomenon under study becomes redundant from a feminist perspective. Feminist theoreticians contend that the way knowledge is generated is deeply gendered, implying that the scientific method is itself flawed because it reflects a male perspective of the world. Reflexivity, it is the process of the researcher making explicit her social location, interests, background assumptions, biases and other features of themselves, showing how they shape the questions, methods, and interpretations of the research. Reflexivity directly challenges the notion of value neutrality because it begins with the idea that there is no possibility of doing any research without factoring in the perspectives of those undertaking the research. Situated knowledge and objectivity, the fact that knowledge is deeply context dependent where it is produced and connected to the location of the researcher does not mean that it is not objective. Indeed, Evelyn Fox Keller's 1985 notion of dynamic objectivity and Sandra Harding's 1991 notion of strong objectivity show that objectivity is not a universal taken for granted concept either. In contrast to the obsessive compulsion to maintain distance and detachment from the object of study found in traditional notions of objectivity, dynamic objectivity does not have the neurotic anxiety to maintain independence of the subject from the object of study. In recognition of the intertwined relationship between power and knowledge, strong objectivity underscores the standpoint of marginalized groups in the generation of objective knowledge. According to Sandra Harding, knowledge produced by subordinate groups has an edge because it unpacks many of the unquestioned categories that the knowledge by powerful groups naturalizes. Subaltern perspectives are a form of situated knowledge that not only give voice to marginalized knowledges but may also challenge the underpinnings of their own subordination. Strong objectivity incorporates democratic inclusion with reflexivity, emotional engagement, abstract, theoretical, emotionally detached, analytic and quantitative thinking that are intrinsic to the scientific method are regarded as typically masculine cognitive styles. On the other hand, intuitive, holistic, contextual, practical, emotionally involved, relational and qualitative modes of thinking are labeled feminine. Rooney 1991. Keller's notion of dynamic objectivity calls for a fruitful, emotional engagement with the object of study. That is why qualitative methods like ethnography that seek identification with the objects, subjects of study have been given preference by feminist scholars. However, this does not mean that quantitative research cannot be done. From a feminist perspective, Box No 2.5, one may say that the scientific method has been critiqued by feminist scholars for its androsynetric SM, overgeneralization, gender insensitivity, and sexual double standards. Feminist research approaches and methods emphasize on experience, pluralism, pragmatism, and the epistemic advantage of disadvantaged groups. They highlight the interplay of facts and values, the centrality of situated knowledge, and the need to move beyond ideas of regulation and control that are intrinsically masculine in nature. Examples of gender-blind perspectives in science: the sexism or sexist bias in science has come in for particular scrutiny in biology. Narrative of sperm and egg casts the former as the active agent while the latter is passive, obscuring the causal role of the latter in fertilization. Martin 1991. Similarly, depicting the transition from ape to hominid as a heroic drama puts the focus on presumptively male activities like hunting as the driver of evolution, obscuring the role of other equally but more presumptively female or gender-neutral activities and behaviors like food gathering, childcare and language as the engine of evolution. Haraway 1989, 2.9 Summary. This unit has described the main features of the classical scientific method as it evolved in the experimental sciences over the past 300 years. This method has contributed to the development of the many scientific discoveries and technological innovations that are the architecture of modern life. However, science is not without its critics. The scientific method has come in for criticism from many directions within the social sciences since the 1930s. Philosophers, historians and sociologists of science like Thomas Kuhn, Karl Popper, Michael Polanyi among a host of others have shown how the social context in which science is practiced influences its methodology, theory and results. Taking this critique to another level, feminist scholars like Evelyn Fox Keller, Sandra Harding, Donna Haraway and Helen Longino have shown that science is gender insensitive and biased both in theory and practice. Feminist science exposes the sexist and androcentric biases in scientific research, especially in theories about women, sexuality and gender differences. This is done by highlighting the influence of social and political factors in what is described as a neutral in the search for knowledge and truth. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video with the next chapter.